In this video, I'm going to give you my top 25 tips to make your Disneyland Paris much better, whether you're a first timer or just need a refresher. Speed is key when it comes to your restaurant reservations. You can book up to 60 days out from your holiday if you're staying on site. Make a plan of where you would like to eat, and then on the Disneyland Paris app, search for the restaurant via its name instead of scrolling through the list of restaurants. This could save you a couple of minutes, but ultimately may snag you that restaurant reservation. Use Extra Magic Hour. You can cram so much into that first hour with very little crowds in the park, as Extra Magic Hour is only available to people who are staying on site or have a certain annual pass. The queue times during Extra Magic Hour for really popular rides don't tend to be any longer than 15 minutes, which is amazing compared to the rest of the day. Snag the best place for you to watch Disney Dreams. If you don't like to be stuck in crowds, then maybe watch Disney Dreams towards the back of Main Street. So as the crowds turn to leave the park after the fireworks are finished, you'll be at the front of that immense crowd leaving the park. Or if you want to be in the thick of all the magic, go towards the central hub for a brilliant close-up view of the castle. But I would highly recommend is getting your spot roughly about 30 minutes before the show starts. Don't be afraid to go against the crowds. Even during Extra Magic Hour, everyone tends to head towards really popular rides, so either Crush's Coaster or Peter Pan's Flight. And Crush's Coaster during Extra Magic Hour can be up to 60-minute wait, which is a total waste of your Extra Magic Hour. Instead of going with the crowd and heading towards those rides, I suggest doing different rides, such as all of the rides within Fantasyland and do the Fantasyland circuit, or head over to Big Thunder Mountain where you're only going to wait 5 or 10 minutes. And then hit up those popular rides later on in the day when the crowds tend to die down a little and the queue times shorten. Use mobile ordering when ordering your food at the quick service restaurants. Don't waste your time and your time in the parks by standing in long queues for quick service meals. Instead, hop onto the Disneyland Paris app and place your order there, and they'll let you know when it's ready, meaning more time for fun in the parks. Learn about the average queue times on the Disneyland Paris app before you go to the parks. Then from there, work on a plan and go for it. Check out the height restrictions for rides and the heights of everyone in your group before you go. There is nothing more heartbreaking than learning that a certain person in your group can't ride the ride that they really wanted to do. So check it before you go. Get your breaks in as and when you need them. Head over to the Disney Village for a slower pace. Look in all the shops or have a bite to eat at a much slower pace, but still be in the Disney bubble. Or head back to your hotel for a midday break if needed. You could always go and see one of the brilliant shows at Disneyland Paris. Sit down in the air conditioning, put your feet up and enjoy some extremely good Disney magic. When exiting the park after the fireworks, don't be in a rush to leave. Instead, take your time. Pop into some shops and maybe grab that last minute piece of merch that you had your eye on all day. But just take your time. Allow the main bulk of the crowds to leave the park and then tag on at the end. It'll be a lot smoother and you will leave the park a lot quicker. Download an hour by hour weather app, especially if the weather is looking a little bit changeable. This will allow you to plan your day more effectively. Don't forget the other smaller attractions down Main Street. There's the vintage cars and the horse-drawn coach. They're really lovely touches of magic to Main Street. Pack your park essentials in your park bag. A mobile phone charger, sunscreen, plasters, your refillable water bottle, socks just in case you get a pair wet, you can change into them, and then Ziploc bags to either put those wet socks in, or if your child has bought a sticky sweet or lollipop or a bubble wand to save it all sticking or leaking with inside your bag, pop them in a Ziploc bag and you're good to go. Research where the toilets are before you go. On the Disneyland Paris app, if you click into the maps, you can filter out where the toilets are. So at all times you'll know where they are and you won't get caught out. Water fountains. Enjoy the free water at Disneyland Paris. Just make sure you take along your refillable water bottle, which is really handy on a hot summer's day. Check the distance from your hotel to the parks. This includes on-site and off-site hotels, and factor that in when you're planning your days in the park. A lovely thing about the Disneyland Paris hotels is that you can dine in other hotels even if you're not staying there. And some really lovely dining experiences can be had at the Art of Marvel Hotel, in the Downtown Restaurant and Manhattan, and then also Newport Bay has a beautiful restaurant that you can dine in. And it's also another great way to check out the other hotels for your next stay. Check for ride and show closures on the Disneyland Paris app before you go to avoid any disappointment. They do have planned maintenances on rides which shuts them down for a little while, and also the shows do do take a break. So just be aware of that before you go. If you have your eye on a piece of merch, check Shop Disney first. There may be better deals online. Or if you're in the park and they have sold out, again, check Shop Disney. It may still be available there, so you won't lose out. Don't forget about rider swap. If certain people in your group can't or don't want to ride a certain ride, then the people who do can still ride. You just need to alert a cast member to what you're doing, and then the first person then queues and rides the ride, and then the second person goes back to that cast member and lets them know it's their turn and ready to go, and they will escort you straight onto the ride without having to queue. Avoid stroller stress. There are designated parking spaces for your stroller, but just be aware, cast members can move your stroller if needed if the walkways become a little bit too crowded as strollers. They're not moving them too far, they're just moving them out of the way. To avoid any stress in thinking that your stroller has been stolen, make sure your stroller is easy to identify. So tie a bright piece of ribbon around the handle, or if you have bought a balloon, all the balloons look the same. So tie a bright piece of ribbon to the balloon so you can spot it easy and avoid all the stress. If you're looking to celebrate the holiday seasons at Disneyland Paris, so Halloween and Christmas, try and do it earlier on in the season, as it tends to be a little bit less crowded than the closer you get to the actual holiday. The great thing about Disney ponchos is that they are huge, so they cover your entire body and your backpack. But a nice tip about Disneyland Paris ponchos is if you do happen to tear one, take the poncho back to the shop where you brought it from with the receipt, and Disneyland Paris will replace that poncho for you for free. When you get to the security checkpoint in the morning, to help speed things up a little bit, take your phone out of either your pocket, bum bag or backpack and have it ready in your hand to place in the tray provided to you by security. It takes a couple of seconds, but again, those couple of seconds are shaved off that time for you, and then you'll get into the park a lot quicker. Study the maps to both parks before you go and make a plan of what you would like to do in each park. It's also a really fun activity for you all to do before you go, as you can all pick things that you would like to do and then make your plan. Budget for strollers. Even if your child or children haven't used a stroller for many years, there is no tired like Disney tired. Just be aware, if you did want to take the strollers into both parks, there is an additional cost to be able to do so, so just bear that in mind. If you're going to Disneyland Paris soon and have any really handy tips that you like to do while you're there, please drop them in the comments below, as I'd love to hear them. If you found this video useful, please give it a big thumbs up and please consider subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.